Well, good morning, everyone. On behalf of everyone here at Ascension Industries, home of the best darn employees in Western New York, I want to welcome Governor Andrew Cuomo, Senator George Maziarz, Assemblyman Jim Hayes, Assemblyman Robin Schimminger, and all other distinguished guests that are here today for this historic Recharge New York event. To have the governor visit us his first few months in office is indeed an honor, and we thank you. This event is historic for New York State because today a significant bill will be signed into law to more permanently provide for low-cost power to help businesses such as ours, who compete in today's world economy where every penny counts. It is historic for Ascension Industries and our employees because it is something that has never happened before under this roof and probably never will again. One of my employees emailed me yesterday, and he said, "This is a wow moment," and I couldn't agree with him more. What pleases me most is to see people from both sides of the political aisle here today to celebrate this wonderful occasion. It proves it can happen, especially if the purpose includes creating jobs and reducing business costs in New York State. My father, John Kopczynski, the founder of this business, besides being an industrialist and mayor of North Tonawanda for 2 years in the 1950s, was politically active behind the scenes his whole life, and he deeply respected both sides of the political aisle. I'm sure he is looking down with a big smile today on his face as he sees what's going on here today. Ascension Industries has been a beneficiary of the well-known Power for Jobs program for over 10 years. I can tell you it certainly has helped us to create and retain jobs over these years. I also firmly believe that the program helped us to recover quicker from the 2009 U.S. economic downturn. All of us at Ascension Industries look forward to hearing about Recharge New York. I believe our governor means business for businesses in New York State. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Assemblyman Jim Hayes, who I'm sure is also ready to recharge New York. Thank you.
Jack, thanks for inviting us all here today, and it's a real pleasure for me to be here and to see, sitting behind you, I want to shout out to my former Canisius College colleague, your lovely wife, Carol Kopczynski. Carol, it's great to see you. Let's hear it for Carol. Governor Cuomo, it's great to see you here in Western New York again, and thank you so much for coming to Ascension Industries and to North Tonawanda today for what I think is both a substantive and a symbolic moment. I say substantive because it's the formal announcement of the approval of the Recharge New York program, continuing, expanding, and improving on the Power for Jobs program that is so essential and so important to keeping and creating jobs here in Western New York. I say symbolic for what can be achieved when the executive and the legislature work together across regional and partisan lines for the benefit of New York State's families and for our businesses. We know Recharge New York will be a powerful tool to energize job growth in Western New York and beyond. Low-cost Niagara hydropower should be a major natural advantage for our region. And electricity provided to businesses through Recharge New York will help assure that we put the advantage to work, creating jobs for our people. It is now my pleasure to introduce my fellow Golden Griff from Canisius College, my colleague from the other side of the aisle, Assemblyman Robin Schimminger.
Thank you, Assemblyman Jim Hayes, fellow alumnus of Canisius College, a small Jesuit school founded in 1870 in Buffalo. It is nice to be here, and it's nice to be here with Jack Kopczynski looking down. I knew Jack Kopczynski, and he was so proud of his family and so proud of his company and so invested in guiding elected officials. I remember 1976 at the Packet Inn, John Kopczynski, the father, and Jimmy Carter here in North Tonawanda many, many, many years ago. But it is an honor to have been invited today by the son, Jack. The state's Power for Jobs program benefited many companies and created thousands of jobs across New York State, but there was room for improvement in that program, and Recharge New York builds now upon that success and then some. It represents permanent, reliable power and gives businesses the opportunity to enact real growth in their workforce. Governor Cuomo's priority of bringing jobs back to our state is the catalyst for this measure, and it was contained in the budget that we adopted this year at the end of March. A budget that contained a hat trick of wins for economic development. It was a budget that dealt with a $10 billion gap without raising taxes. What a message that sends. It was a budget that made more robust the Excelsior Jobs program. What a win that was. And thirdly, it contained Recharge New York, which is a measure that's going to deliver energy efficiency and reliability and gives businesses across New York State the tools that they need to stay in our state and to prosper. Ascension Industries right here, like many other businesses, did participate in the Power for Jobs program, but so many of those participating industries noted that the program had flaws with its year-to-year power agreements that made it more difficult to plan for future expansions. And we in New York State government listened to those concerns. And we are here today to spread the word that Power for Jobs has been reinvented. Its successor, Recharge New York, is much more in tune with the needs of businesses. The size of the program has doubled, making low-cost power more available to more businesses, and long-term contracts will provide price stability. Recharge New York holds the promise of being the spark that spurs greater economic development in Western New York and throughout New York State. And I thank Governor Andrew Cuomo for the job that he's doing and for bringing this measure to the fore and delivering real job creation for New York State. And now it is my pleasure to bring forward State Senator George Maziarz. George.
Thank you, Robin. I feel I have to put in a shameless plug for Niagara University. I just have to. First of all, Governor Cuomo, welcome to my hometown, the great city of North Tonawanda, home to hardworking men and women like the workers here at Ascension Industries. And just as an aside, I have to tell you that I have sponsored the Recharge New York program, the extension of the Power for Jobs program, for over 6 years in the New York State Senate. And each and every year, it would get down to the last couple days of session, and there'd be some disagreement, and the executive wouldn't be on board, or the Assembly or the Senate wasn't in agreement, and the bill would fall off the table, as we say in Albany, and we would get just a simple one-year extension to the Power for Jobs program. That didn't work for industries. This year, shortly after taking office, Governor Cuomo contacted me, called me up personally, and he said, we have to do the extension, the permanent extension of Power for Jobs, the Recharge New York program. And I honestly, in kind of a quip, said, Governor, we'll get it done. But if we get it done, you have to promise me that you'll sign the bill in North Tonawanda. Governor, you kept your promise, and I appreciate it. Thank you. And I had to promise him good weather. But, Governor, the weather the third week of July during Canal Fest is even better. And, as another little historic note, in 1986, I was the city clerk of the city of North Tonawanda, and I wrote your dad a handwritten note and invited him to be the Grand Marshal in the Canal Fest parade in the third week of July, and he accepted, and he was here. So, you can't let your father show you up, Governor. You have to come back. Many of the jobs of the people that you see around today in this little tour that we took were created and retained through Ascension's access to low-cost hydropower. Power produced just 15 miles away from this location. These jobs sustain families. They sustain communities. They keep our economy going. I have long said that low-cost hydropower is the best, most unique tool we have to promote economic development. That premise underlies the Power for Jobs program, and it will be the foundation of the new, more robust Recharge New York program. Governor, I think we've been working well together these past few months. We've passed a responsible, on-time budget that reduces state spending. The Senate passed your property tax cap legislation, and we need the Assembly to come along with us. And we're already talking today about legislation to create and to make permanent the Recharge New York Power for Jobs program. It's been my privilege to carry the torch on this issue in the Senate for several years now, as we've tried to come up with a permanent reform to that Power for Jobs program. And now we're providing that certainty to entrepreneurs like Jack Kopczynski. The jobs here at Ascension will be just a part of that story. Recharge New York will help sustain hundreds of thousands of jobs all across New York State. Governor, when you consider the challenges facing our economy in upstate New York, this is where we can make a difference. This is how we can reduce the cost of doing business. This is why we have to keep working together across the aisle, across the branches of government, across the divisions and the regions of this state. As a sponsor of this legislation, Governor, I'm honored that you chose to sign this bill here. Thank you very much. And now, ladies and gentlemen, fellow North Tonawandans particularly, it's my great pleasure to introduce the Governor of the state of New York, Andrew Cuomo. Governor.
Good morning. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you very much. First, to Jack Kopczynski, thank you so much for having us here today. Thank you for allowing us to disturb your business. I don't think we're going to get a lot of work done today, Jack. I have news for you. But Jack is not just a phenomenal business manager for this industry. He's been a great community servant, a public servant. He is someone who is looked up to and admired by the entire community. He's a great employer. Thank you for doing this today. Let's give him a big round of applause. Thank you, Jack. To the employees of Ascension, you do beautiful work here. As someone who tried to weld, I want you to know I have great envy, admiring the welds on some of the equipment that you build. And thank you very much for having us and for this interruption today. Assemblyman Jim Hayes, let's give him a round of applause. He's doing a great job. It's a pleasure to work with him. Assemblyman Robin Schimminger, good to see you, Robin. He's doing great work. You should be very proud of everything he's doing. Senator George Maziarz, he's exactly right. The phone call, I said, we have to get the bill done. He put right in there. He didn't miss a beat, but we have to sign it in North Tonawanda. I didn't miss a beat. I said, you pass the bill, we'll be in North Tonawanda, and we're in North Tonawanda, and I'm going to sign the bill. Senator George Maziarz. On the senator, Jack was making the point, people across the aisle, people of different political parties. First of all, I didn't know there were any people of different political parties here today, Jack. But we are not all of the same political party. That is true. Senator Maziarz is of a different political party. Some are Democrats, some are Republicans. But I haven't been in Albany all that long as governor. This is just past the 100-day mark. But one of the things we can use less of in Albany is politics. We can use less of the partisanship, yet less of I'm a Democrat, you're a Republican. Because once you start playing that Democrat-Republican team stuff, where you become loyal to a political party, you lose the loyalty and you lose the allegiance to the people. And you know what? We're Democrats, we're Republicans, but first we are New Yorkers. And it's about doing the right thing for the state and the right thing for the people of the state. And it's not about politics. And what we're saying today is we come together as people who represent the great people of the state of New York, and that's how it should be every day. And it's my pleasure to be here in that spirit, and I applaud my colleagues for putting politics aside and putting the people first. Congratulations to all of you, and especially you, George Maziarz. And you heard what today is all about. It's actually very simple. My focus as governor, what I'm going to focus the administration on is creating jobs in the state of New York. The best thing I can do for the state, one of the top priorities, is bringing back jobs to New York. Why? Because what made the Empire State, and what makes this the greatest state in the nation, is not a great government complex. It's a thriving private sector. And if the private sector is working, and if businesses are coming and businesses are growing and jobs are being created and jobs are paying good wages, then we can take care of everything else. The best thing you can do for a community is do business development. The best thing you can do for a person is a job. And for too long in New York, we've been seeing it go the other way. We've been seeing businesses leave. We've been seeing young people leave. That's what we have to reverse. We have to get businesses coming back. We have to make New York the business location. Now, how do we do that? You have to make it easier for businesses to operate in this state. Why? Because the businesses are more mobile than ever before. You know, it's not like the old days where they were cemented into a place. Businesses can leave. Businesses shop, and they shop states. And businesses will go to a state where the cost of operation is less. So what do you have to do? First, reduce the costs. First thing we've been doing, we've been focusing on it. We did it in this budget. Get the taxes down. Why? Because if New York is the tax capital of the nation, then there is no future for the state of New York as the tax capital of the nation. Not when people and businesses are mobile. So keep the costs, keep the taxes down. Second, reduce the operating costs. And one of the really high operating costs in the state of New York, especially for a business, is the cost of power. Our cost of power in New York is the third highest in the nation. So a business that is reliant on electricity, on power, the cost of operation is very high. A lot of manufacturing businesses rely on power, which is very high in New York. Your business, Ascension, relies on power. If you had to pay one of the highest electricity costs in the nation, then you might consider a different location. What Recharge New York is all about is reducing the cost of power for businesses so they stay, they grow, they locate in New York. And Recharge New York reduced the cost of power by up to 75%. Now, as you heard from the senator, there were previous programs that did this, which Recharge New York is modeled on, but Recharge New York is better in a couple of ways. First of all, it's expanded from anything we've done in the past. It's about 60% larger. We believe that we can help around 800 businesses and hundreds of thousands of employees. This program can actually benefit. It's going to be statewide in application, and it is a long-term program. It's a 7-year contract. So we can say to Jack, we don't have to figure this out year to year. We want you stable. We want you confident of your decision to be here and grow with us. and it's a 7-year contract. And that is a length of time and a contract that can make a real difference to business. And that's the bill that we're going to sign in a moment. My last point is this. We passed the budget in the state of New York, and we passed the budget on time, which sounds like it's no big deal. In the state of New York, passing a budget on time is a very big deal. I want you to know that. And it is especially a big deal because this was a very tough budget. It was a $10 billion deficit, and the way we wanted to do it was very difficult, which is we wanted to be able to close that deficit without raising taxes. Why? Because, in my opinion, it's a pivot moment for the state, where we can say, yes, we closed that deficit, and we closed it with no new taxes because we want businesses to take a second look at New York. And we want to send a different signal. And we want to say, if you thought New York was the tax capital, you better think again, because this is a different New York than you're used to. And we understand the needs of businesses, and we understand how to grow an economy, and we want to do it with you. And we also understand that part of it is that the government has to work. And the government in Albany has to work, and the government in Albany has to function. And the Democrat, Republican, and the partisanship and the gridlock has to stop, and government has to function for the people. That's what people pay for. That's what people expect. And for many years, you looked at Albany and you weren't proud of what you saw. And many years, you looked at Albany and you said, well, if this is the group that is in charge of the future of the state of New York, we're in trouble. Well, you saw a different message from Albany this year. And George is exactly right. Passing that budget, which is a different kind of budget, which is a budget that says we want to grow businesses here in New York, doing it together, putting the politics aside, that's a different message. Getting this program passed, Recharge New York, after all those years of trying and failing, it's now done, it's permanent. We can look Jack in the eye and say, you have a 7-year contract, you're staying here, you're growing, we're here as partners. That's a different day in Albany. And this is a different day in New York. You can feel the momentum is changing. And we are coming back. And we have a different energy, and we have a different spirit, and we're performing like we haven't performed before, and you ain't seen nothing yet. This is the greatest state in the nation. And you know, for a lot of years, we had stories about people leaving, and about the good old days, and what Western New York was in the good old days, and what Buffalo was in the good old days. I'm tired of talking about the good old days. I want to talk about tomorrow, and I want to talk about the future, and I want to talk about the young people and the children who are going to stay here and grow here and build their families here and build this state here. It's not going to be about yesterday. It's going to be about tomorrow and a brighter future. And if you think this state is the Empire State, well, you ain't seen nothing yet, because we're going to make this Empire State shine in a way it's never done before, and we are on our way. Thank you for having us here today. Join me. Let's sign the bill.
Ladies and gentlemen, ladies and gentlemen, this concludes the launching of Recharge New York. Thank you all for attending this historic event. To my employees, I say, the party's over. All good things must come to an end.